Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry about the mess. I'm busy moving. So Peter and I thought it would be a cool idea since he studied a BSc computer science degree and I did a Java bootcamp. So in this video, we're just going to go, what's better, bootcamp or computer science degree?
Yeah.
So let's see.
Yeah, I think for me, what I like about university is that it sort of forces you to cover a lot of your bases. You would learn things that maybe is a bit boring or not so exciting, but still really valuable for you as a developer to know. For instance, all sorts of weird and wonderful algorithms or older languages, features of that, things like compilers, stuff like that. So I feel like a lot of those things are often missed by things like boot camps or more focused learning opportunities. So yeah, I think that's one of the good things. Yeah, maybe you can talk about some of the good things about boot camps before we get into sort of the downsides.
Yeah, so okay, full disclosure is like I did go to university, but I studied film at university, and as a thing to go to, I would recommend, just based on like the social aspects and like growing up aspect of university, I recommend it like that. So basically, I was in a position where I didn't have the opportunity to go study a BSc because I was already older and I didn't have the extra 4 years of my life to just study something else, and I didn't feel like studying and working at the same time. So a boot camp was my viable option. But at the time I did it, boot camps weren't popular. There were two boot camps in Joburg that I knew of. There was VZAP and the one I went to get certified. I liked it because it was short. It was super practical. I just learned some basic programming skills and was employable afterwards. I do think that if you and I had to answer an algorithm question, you would probably destroy me. But I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with myself. But I do feel like also I know what I don't know. And now if I wanted to go and I could learn those things in my own time.
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously one of the strong critics of a degree is that sometimes, and I found that as well, you learn a ton of stuff that you're also never going to use and really that you don't need. And like you say, these days things change so often. Like a lot of the things you're learning now that you wouldn't have been able to learn at university because it didn't exist, So definitely there's that side to it as well. What I also wanted to add is that a degree is also, so I did a 4-year degree, so with an honors. And the reason why I did that is just because a 4-year degree still holds weight, with employers and definitely internationally as well. So that's also something to consider. I think it's becoming less of an issue these days, but definitely back when I went to study, that was still like you had to have a 4-year degree, just otherwise people don't even open your CV. Type of situation.
When I first did my bootcamp, that's what I was stressed out about, even because bootcamps weren't as big of a thing. So I did my bootcamp and I was like, am I still just going to struggle to get work? Am I going to struggle to break into the industry? And when I'm there, will I just never advance because I'll never be given opportunities because I don't have a degree? So that was always in the back of my mind. I think even though I went to a boot camp, I did so much stuff outside of the boot camp. Like I was just learning and learning and learning because I was so nervous that I would pay all this money, invest all this time, and it would amount to nothing. And right now, I have to admit, I don't feel like having done the boot camp has been detrimental or was ever detrimental. But I also have to say that I didn't only do a boot camp. I also got an Oracle certified developer certificate, and that certification was really hard. And I don't think if I were to do that now, I could achieve that same certification without studying a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely an issue that you need to sort of look at is what is, just hitting a blank here, sorry.
8 hours later.
Well, I remember what I want to say is that the attitude of learning and always wanting to learn, that is actually the thing that makes a big difference when you're doing, when you sort of quote unquote self-taught, even if you do a bootcamp probably won't get you where you need to be as a professional developer. And that's why you say you did a lot of stuff, apart from the bootcamp, to actually get yourself to where you need to be. And that extends to today as well, where, you're still actively learning and figuring out things. And I think that makes a bigger difference than the actual thing that you're studying. Because even at university, and that's the thing I often have issues with a degree, is that you can select different subjects you want to take. And there's sort of soft, easy subjects and more difficult, hardcore subjects, but you get the same amount of credits for both. So you can get the same degree as somebody else that just took a lot of easy subjects versus somebody that took a lot of hard subjects where they were actually learning a lot. So even if you're getting the same degree, you don't get the same developer at the end of the day with the same skills. So, and the same applies to bootcamp and stuff like that. If you just do the bootcamp, you expect now that's going to, be enough. It's not going to be enough. You got to be able to put in the work, sit there, struggle with the problems, and figure it out yourself and make it your own, rather than just quickly Googling for the solution or having your friend help you to do it. So I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and you do a lot of hiring. So I was going to ask you, can you easily, do you think, without given the knowledge that someone's done a BSc or someone's done a bootcamp or someone's self-taught, do you think that's something that you can pick up in an interview, like without seeing their CV?
Maybe. So I do feel like, going through a university degree does sort of help you think in a certain way and give you a certain outlook on things. So maybe with computer science, it might be a little bit less so, but definitely with something like engineering, for instance, where they are, very hardcore focused on producing a type of person that has an engineering degree. They're sort of trained in a discipline, and I think that definitely comes through often, not always.
I also think
often.
It's easy to tell, like the engineers converted to
those
that they're the hardcore crowd.
But generally, I think a lot of, without generalizing too much, a lot of university guys would typically, be, like myself, I was exposed much more to Linux and stuff like that. So you'd be more inclined to run your own distro that you build from scratch, versus somebody that, uses a Mac or whatever that doesn't, or Windows for that. I also use a Mac. Now, that's sort of, further away from the nitty gritty and more focused on, the high level things. More comfortable in like a Windows environment versus, getting down to the nuts and bolts of things. So, I don't think like just talking about the experience, what they've done, you would necessarily pick it up. But if you dig long enough, then they will have a different experience set than developers that are self-taught. I think so. Not necessarily better, but I think there's a different exposure that they get.
The main thing to me is you just have that focused attitude and willingness to like problem solve and not rely on other people to problem solve for you. And I think university pushes that. I think some boot camps push it also. I don't think all boot camps are equal at the same. I think some boot camps just try and get developers out there so that they can start making money on the developer. No, my final thoughts though, if you're interested in programming and you want to get into the industry quickly, that you're a bit older, like I was a bit older, I think a boot camp is fine. It's a way to enter it and then just be self-driven. I think if you are younger, if you are 18, 19, even 20, then I would suggest also going the university route, because university actually is a fun thing to go to.
Yeah, I think I'd sort of say the same. Definitely, it was a great experience for me. Often if you hit the job market too early as well, you don't sort of know really what you want and you get sort of pushed into a specific direction, where maybe university gives you a little bit of a broader exposure to a lot of things, and maybe you discover something there like AI or network security or whatever that you otherwise wouldn't have been exposed to, and then you can explore that further, rather than doing a boot camp that's pretty much going to push you into something like web development, and then that's where you're going to be. So
yeah, cool. Okay, be good to each other.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers.